Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 34 of the Bible in 365. We have a great question that came in this week. This is actually from Ed McDonald. He asks, so in the New Testament, when Paul or Jesus or any of the other New Testament writers refer to the scriptures, what exactly are they talking about? Well, obviously, they can't be talking about the Bible that we have today because they were actually in the process of writing the Bible that we have today. In the New Testament, anytime you see a reference to the scriptures, it is a reference to what we call the Old Testament. It's a reference to the law, the writings, and the prophets. So, what you and I read as the Old Testament, that was all Jesus had as a Bible. It's all Paul had to read as scripture. And one of the interesting things to think about is that the New Testament writers, when they're writing the New Testament, they likely don't have any idea that they're actually writing scripture, that they're writing the Bible. God's spirit is flowing through them, God's spirit is speaking through them, but they're not necessarily aware of the fact that what they're writing is going to be God's way of speaking to all generations of his people. So that's a great question. With that, you don't really need much of an introduction to this week's readings from me because this week we're reading things that we're already pretty oriented to. So we're finishing up the book of Job. It's a long book, but coming to a conclusion here on the first day of the week. And then we're going to go back into the book of Psalms for our third stint in the book of Psalms. Of course, remember the Psalms are the Bible's prayer book. And so all of the Psalms are prayers and hymns and poems that express human beings' communication with God. And the Psalms are meant to be prayed, and they're great for memorizing. Well, this week, we're going to read first Psalm 73 to 89, and those are the third part, the third book of the book of Psalms. And those Psalms are mostly written by Asaph, who was a musician in the days of King David, and he was appointed by David to lead worship in the tabernacle. And so he wrote songs for the people of God to sing in worship. And what's interesting as you read these Psalms is you'll see the gauntlet of human emotions expressed. One of the Psalms will express hope or joy or happiness. And another one of the Psalms will express despair or concern, or other Psalms will express the need for deep trust in God, and some will express lament. And what I think this does is it demonstrates to us what genuine worship means. Genuine worship means bringing the full weight of human experience into the presence of God. That when we worship, we don't have to deny the things we feel or experience, but we can bring the full breadth of our experiences to the God of the universe. Now, as you're reading through the Psalms, we'll be in Psalm 90 this week. Psalm 90 is the only psalm that was written by Moses, and Psalm 90 is a pretty powerful psalm. And you'll also see a theme in the Psalms that we're reading this week. There'll be themes of trust and themes of joy, of finding joy in the Lord and of trusting in God, especially during hard times. All right. I hope you enjoy your continued readings in the Bible, and I'll see you right back here next week for more of the Bible in 365.